We're continuing with the Dvar Malchut that we started yesterday. we started 3 days ago. And the Rebbe is talking about what is the signs that the Moshiach is already here, the redemption is already beginning, it's already begun. Is there any signs of this? I mean, the Rebbe keeps saying it over and over. And the Rebbe said, I have one of the best signs of all. One of the best signs of all is France. And we see that France was the biggest opposition to godliness. And suddenly it transformed. Now we have to ask ourselves a question. I mean, all the other rabbis in the time of the first Rebbe of Chabad, they all favored France. It didn't bother them that the whole world was becoming decadent and licentious, and that there were a lot of Jews also that were being convinced in this and following after the spirit of the times and this. The rabbi saw that this was an amazing opportunity to finally be free of persecution. And not only that, the government promised that they would help. And the first Rebbe of Chabad even said that if Napoleon wins, then it'll raise the glory of the Jewish people and it'll be good for us physically. There won't be any more oppression, that we'll be able to, provide for ourselves. We can open businesses and we can, be successful. But on the other hand, he said that if Napoleon loses, it'll be terrible for the Jews physically. But on the other hand, people will still cling to their Father in heaven. People will cling to their Father in heaven. So you can ask yourself a question: what type of an advantage is this? I mean, what type of redemption do we want over here? We want a redemption that's going to be bad for the Jews physically, and everybody's going to suffer, and will be oppressed, and there'll be anti-Semitism, but it'll be good for us spiritually. That's what the Rebbe wants, right? That's what we're after. That's what we're going for. And that's a sign of the new redemption, that France is no longer ruling over the world. That's so the answer is like this. I think that the way the world is supposed to be and the way that the world is two different things, right? The way the world is, and even more, even when God created the world and he put man in it, the way that the world was supposed to be and the way that the world was were two totally different things. Totally different things. Almost like the difference between a sick person and a healthy person. Right? A person, if he's sick long enough, then he gets so used to it, he doesn't even want to be healthy anymore. He loses the desire, right? A person is crippled and somebody says you can walk, after a while he doesn't believe it. Come on, I got myself a new wheelchair and a new, set of crutches. Leave me alone. I got friends. We have a club, the crippled club, and you get used to it. But the difference between a person, let's say, that's blind, a person can see, a person that's crippled, a person that can walk, it's a very big difference. It's a very, very big difference. I remember once I heard they interviewed once Ray Charles. Ray Charles was a famous black musician. He started the very popularized black rock and roll in America. Very talented. He was blind. And they interviewed him once, if you could see again, would you like to? He said, yeah, I'd like to see for about an hour. Just that I could see all the people that I don't know if he would hold with this opinion after they gave him sight. But he said, I get along really well being blind. He was like blind from 10 years old or something. And it got really long, so you can get used to it and get along with the world, So I'd like to see a little bit, just to have the experience, and then I'd remember what. Anyway, the world, the way it is, and the world, the way it's supposed to be, is something totally different. The love that we express, appreciation, a life, honesty, all these things that are really the essence of what life is not feeling though. It's like the difference between nowadays people, they don't want to have children. I mean, it's trouble and it's this, but the love that there is between parents and children and parents, there's nothing like it in the world. Nothing like it in the world. If a person's healthy, it's totally different feeling than the love between, let's say, two friends or between a husband and a wife, a children. So if you look at some person, you don't know it's your son, right? And say, this is your son that you've been away from for 40 years. It's, oh, my son, I didn't believe it. It takes a little bit of time. But the awakening this feeling, this is your father you haven't seen for so long. Oh, right, I was looking for you and I gave up already and I thought you were dead. Suddenly, it's something like that is going to be with everything in the world. We're going to see how important and dear and precious and miraculous everything is in the world. And the whole goal of France was exactly the opposite. The goal of France was my pleasure, what I'm going to get. I want to get the most pleasure possible. And the idea of the future is that we'll appreciate the world like a person appreciates, oh, my father, I'm willing to do anything for my father. That you'll see your God in everything. I want to do anything I can for God as our Father. So it's an inner feeling of appreciation and value in the world. In addition to the big miracles that there's going to be, it says that there won't be any more disease. So France was ultimate egotism. You're the boss. You do what you want. You want to be religious, be religious. Whatever you want to have pleasure, be pleasure. You want whatever you want to do, do. And Judaism says that God is the boss, and that God is creating us, and that we can appreciate God. And that's what we want to do. That's what the Rebbe said. The completion of this refining of the world for the future redemption. Like it says, Olam Moshiach Bar Tzion is at the end of last week's Haftorah we had from Ovadia, the prophecy of Ovadia. There will come the Moshiach, the saviors from the Mount of Zion, and they will judge the mountain of Esav. And God will be the ruler. What does it mean? This all depends on how we refined the exile. And the exile is especially in Sarfat. The exile is personified by Sarfat, France. Two ways. Number one, because France is the lowest of the lowest, the most egotistical place. This was caused by means of it a completion in the refinement of the world. Like it says, Sarfat means siruf, birur, saraf means to be refined. So if we can refine France, that means that we're refining everything in the world, right? If France becomes transparent, then you can see godliness through France, and that affects it. So that's a sign that the whole world is becoming transparent. Number two, Bebir Shel Sarfat, by refining France, Sarfat, and the Sarfat is the gematria of 770. 770 is the address of the Rebbe's headquarters in America. This hints at the revelation that was give us the power to refine everything in the world. In a way, so on one hand, it shows that if Sarfat is being refined, it shows that we're reaching the end. And not only that, if Sarfat, if France, then this gives us power to refine everything else there is in the world, in the whole entire world. No place is as difficult as France. And you have to remember, again, the Rebbe said, before Napoleon's defeat in Russia, as it was the most powerful country in the world. It was the most powerful, both culturally and militarily. And like I said before, France actually defeated Russia, but they were just depleted in their supplies. They didn't have any supplies, and the Russians burned all the land. So the Napoleon had to go back to replenish his supplies. When he went back, so that's when the Russians attacked him from all different sides, and they defeated him a couple of times. And it's an interesting thing that the first Rebbe of Chabad, he prophesied this. Napoleon was winning and winning and winning, and the Russians were running for him. And the Alter Rebbe's son stood there, and he said, "What's going to be, Father?" He says, "Napoleon is winning. He's going to take over the whole world. What's going to be?" And the Alter Rebbe said, "Well, he was standing with his tefillin," and he said, "I'm standing with tefillin in my head, and I'm telling the truth. Napoleon is going to be defeated, and he's going to be defeated because he's going to go back. He's not going to go through White Russia. He's going to decide to go back to wherever. Anyway, whatever." And that way he's going to be and exactly what the Alter Rebbe said. That's exactly what happened. So in order to make it a little bit easier on us to believe in this thing about the redemption and to work toward it, so God made this big miracle in our physical eyes that we can see that happened in France. And this is one of the answers to the people who are complaining, why don't we see now any miracles? Now we can see a tremendous miracle that's occurring. It's known that every country has its, its anthem, national anthem. Niguna Medina. Al derech, like every country has its own flag of the country. And said that this song they sing when everybody gets together, right? In Russia, they have their song. They all sing together. America, was it? America had a few of them actually. Oh, say, can you see? But Israel made up theirs. Every country has their own national anthem. And when all the people of the country gather together and they sing this song, then, or if one representative of the country goes to another country, so the other country plays their song to make them feel at home. That's a song. So if to the song of the country, this is somehow or other representing the country. How much more so when we're talking about the song of France, like it's known that they're that this song was composed at the time of the French Revolution, and especially known that the whole thing, the country was, every country has what's called a spiritual power above, a chieftain angel. And we can say that this is attached to the country, the angel of that country, the song. So the song is not just a regular, it's a spiritual thing also. The song, it awakens the spiritual feeling, I am a Frenchman, I am a German, I am a Russian. The goose people stand up, right? The flag comes up. Now in America, they want to change it. I don't know what they're going to, whatever it is, they want to tear down all the flags and all the statues and everything. Maybe they want to change this. Okay. A few years ago, the Hasidim started to sing the song of France with the words Aderet ve'amunah l'chai olamim. Excuse me. There's a song we sing in the prayers of Shabbat that we say that the glory and faith goes to the creation, the one who gives life to the world, the Chai Olamim, the one who gives life to the world. The understanding and the blessing is to the one who is the life of the world, Chai Olamim, namely to God, life of all the worlds. So it's a song we sing on Shabbat. So there's a lot of melodies to it, but some of the Hasidim started to sing the French national anthem. Ader ve'amunah l'chai olamim, abina v'bracha l'chai olamim, v'gdula l'chai olamim, te'ah v'tibur l'chai olamim, ayere they started Hatihila Batiferes l'chai. That's how it ends. In a very short time after that, a very amazing thing happened. France actually changed their anthem. They changed like one stanza. The reason, excuse me, the reason for the thing, the Hasidim explain that after this song was used for holy purposes, so this chieftain angel, that is the, how do you say, the identity of France, and the mazel with the spiritual power of France, felt this, and this caused below that there's going to be a change. And because of the feeling that this song suddenly became a little bit of connected to holiness, Nigun Chasidi, a song of the Hasidim that they sing at the time of a Hasidic Farbringen, including also Farbringens that are made in France itself. Now, a Farbringen is when Hasidim get together, they drink a little bit of vodka, and they say stories or words about God. In this, we can see revealed an amazing, change that is now in regard to the generation of the first Rebbe. I say a drastic change from our generation to the generation of the first Rebbe. They took this song, they changed it to holiness. Aderet ve'amuna l'chai olamim, that the glory and the faith goes to the one who gives life to the world. And we sing it, Sharimoto, in not just in the French, when the French went out to war or whatever, they sing it in a Hasidic Farbringen. When Hasidim get together, and that they speak words of arousal and words of Torah and commandments, so much that there are some people that they don't know at all that this song was taken from France. There are some Hasidim that they think that this is really a Hasidic song from the beginning. Maybe some old Hasid made it up, 200 years ago. That from time to time, Hasidic nigunim are developed by means of people that have the ability to make good songs. And when this is accepted by means of everybody, so this becomes part of the Hasidic songs. Why am I talking about this now, says the Rebbe? And especially that Ubefrat, Shechasid Yochel Litom, because one of the Hasidim, one of my followers, can say that we learn that every Shekaling Animhu Limud Torah. The whole thing I'm supposed to do is learn Torah, do the commandments. I haven't got any time for anything else. Also, not miracles or any of these things. We're here to serve God. It doesn't take up any place. So first of all, I'm telling you like this. There has to be a recognition and thanks to God on the miracles that he does do. Even if you're busy learning Torah and this, it's a commandment to give thanks to God on the miracles that he does. And especially when we are next to the days of Chanukah, that the whole thing of Chanukah is advertising miracles, right? There's a command, there's an interesting custom in Chanukah that we light the lights of Chanukah in public places, in the synagogue, and we make a blessing. We make 2 blessings, sometimes 3 blessings, and we don't do the mitzvah. There isn't. When you get back home, you have to make the blessing again, right? You have to make the blessings again because you didn't really do the commandment. But there's an additional commandment, and that is advertising the miracle. Advertising, even though that nobody really fulfills the personal commandment of lighting the candles, but there is a public commandment to advertise the miracle. So even if you want to say that in the other days of the year, you don't have to advertise miracles only on Chanukah, right? Like you can see that this is a thing of Chanukah and Purim, etc. But in the days, in any case, in the days of Chanukah, you do have to advertise miracles. And we can say that this is not only the miracle of that we won the war, or the miracle of that the candles lit, but also to advertise any miracle that God does to the Jewish people back then. And this is the main thing, says the Rebbe, It is, we must recognize and we must give thanks and we must give praise to God on the miracles that he is doing right now. In addition to the fact that it's just a simple thing that you have to have gratitude, but this is also relevant to the coming of the Mashiach in the true redemption. Why? Why is thanking God for miracles have anything to do with Mashiach? Because the Torah, the Talmud tells us in Sanhedrin, Bikash HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that God wanted to make Chezkiyahu, King Chezkiyahu, the Mashiach. Bikash the Mashiach. Omo Midas Adin, but the aspect of severity came before God and said, Chezkiyahu, you did so many miracles to Chezkiyahu, and Shenitzel, that he got saved from Sancheriv, and his disease got healed. And Lo Amar Shira Lefanav Tasa Mashiach. You want the story with Chezkiyahu? He was a tremendously righteous person, and God wanted him to make him Mashiach. He had all the qualifications of Mashiach. He knew the Torah. He taught the Torah. He encouraged the Torah, the observance of the Torah. He strengthened Judaism. He renewed the temple. And what happened was that the two miracles. First of all, he got sick, and he was going to die. And even the prophet Isaiah came and said, "You're going to die because you don't have any children." He said, "But I saw in prophetic vision that if I have children, they're going to be evil people," and they were. You'll see what happened. So Isaiah said, "I'm sorry, you made a big mistake. You're supposed to do your thing. Let God do his thing. Who your children are going to be, that's up to God. But it's too late. You're going to die. It's already been decided." So it says, Chezkiyahu turned his face to the wall. He prayed to God, and God gave him another 25 years of life. Miracle number one. Miracle number two, Sancheriv conquered the whole entire world. Sancheriv conquered the whole entire world. He was the king of Assyria. Conquered the whole world. He came to Jerusalem and laid siege on Jerusalem. He had a huge, huge army of motivated men, best weapons, and Chezkiyahu was trapped inside of the city, didn't know what to do. So he asked Isaiah the prophet what to do, and Isaiah said, or God spoke to him directly, I don't remember, and he said, you don't have to worry. It's going to be okay. So don't have to worry. So he went to sleep, woke up the next morning, and the whole army of Sancheriv was decimated, and an angel came and killed them all. So it said, God, the aspect of gavura, of how do you say, of judgment, severe judgment, came before God and said, you did so many miracles for Chezkiyahu, and he didn't sing any songs to you. You're going to make him Mashiach? According to this, we can understand that it's very, very important to sing songs, give praise. If you don't know how to make songs, which is a very rare, people know how to make Hasidic songs. Hare, I mean, the last generations, there hasn't been really anybody. Hare, this will bring the future redemption in actual fact. So you have to give thanks to the Creator on the miracles. You have to give thanks for the fact that we're alive. You have to give thanks for the fact that we're here. You have to give thanks to the fact that we have, in Israel especially, we have, thank God, the worst government possible. Suicidal, nothing like it. Ashamed of their own Jewish identity, ashamed of the fact that we're alive, ashamed of the fact that we're different. We have this amazing, powerful army, and they tie the hands of the army. They let the Arabs do whatever they want. And God just does these amazing miracles for us. That we're still here, and we have water and electricity, and we breathe. It's just, it makes no sense. Just amazing miracles that are beyond comprehension that God does for us. And God doesn't just save, the religious people. He saves everybody. He even saves our terrible government. He saves, just a miracle. I don't think there's any miracle like that in the whole history of the world, right? That they want to give land away to the Arabs. They want they're ashamed of themselves. The United Nations condemns us all the time, and we're just kowtow, and we're just, anyway. And still, God just protects us. They're just like, what is it, 4 years ago, they shot 4,000 missiles into Israel, and almost nothing happened. Just amazing. So we have a lot to be thankful about. We have to be thankful about. And in addition to the fact, big miracles that we just take for granted. Like I say, you wake up in the morning, it's amazing, right? you look into the mirror for a second, somebody looks back, you can't understand it. Right? It's just amazing. So now we can get to the main teaching, and that is going to be tomorrow. We're going to learn this tomorrow. Let's just learn the, what did I do? I wanted to do the Yom Yom. Okay, let's do the Yom Yom here. 1 second. 1 minute, 1 minute. We have not given up. Press the wrong button. Now today is Yud Tet Kislev. Yud Tet Kislev. Oh, this is wonderful. Okay, Yud Tet Kislev. Today is the 19th day of Kislev. It's a festival. That God redeemed our soul in peace. 1 second. Did I turn this thing off? Let me just see what's happening over here. Recording. Okay. You know what? Let's